So how do you build $1 million creative cash flow? That is a coaching business that is built around your life as opposed to your life being built around your business. It's a coaching business where your main focus is being creative. Your main focus is creating content, impacting people, coaching people, instead of it being where you're constantly selling, you're constantly trying to convince people, you're constantly on this hamster wheel, trying to grow, trying to scale. A creative cash flow is all about earning money, getting clients, being paid to do the work you love, to essentially be paid to live a life you love, as opposed to having to work to live a life. You know, your work is your life, and you get paid to act that out and to teach others the knowledge and the skill that you have, right? And the gift that you have to give to people. And so in this video, I'm going to break down the 10 steps, essentially the blueprint that I followed to be able to get to, to build my creative cash flow, and that I'm following to get back to the $1 million mark. Because if you don't know who I am, my name's Harry. I've made $2 million with my coaching business so far, but most of that, I'd say $1.5 million of that, came doing it the bro scaler way. That is with sales calls, that is with a big team, that is with lots of outbound DMs. Essentially, it was a simple business, but it's a very stressful business. And having grown a big audience on Instagram organically, over 100,000 followers, long story short, I struggled to sell to people on there, when I first started. So a lot has changed over the years, but I found that when I was scaling and getting to big cash months, 75K cash months, 100K plus sales months, I found that at the start of 2024, the model I was following just simply wasn't for me. And I had to make a change to improve my lifestyle, to improve my happiness, my health, mental health, physical health, all aspects of life, apart from my bank, were suffering. And now the goal for me has always been, how can I build a business, a creative cash flow that feeds my soul as much as it feeds my bank, right? And so that's what these 10 steps are all about. This is not going to be the fastest way to get to $1 million. It's not necessarily going to be the easiest way to get to $1 million. That's not what this video is about. This video is for the coach, the creator, the consultant, the service provider, the person who wants to sell their knowledge in a coaching offer, in a consulting offer, but you want to do it in a way where you're not always grinding, you're not on sales calls, you can actually, again, live your life and enjoy your life, but make money whilst you do that. Then this is the blueprint for you. So let's get straight into it. Number one is to simplify and to cut out the fat in your business. Now, for most of you watching this video, you're not a beginner. You're someone, you're already getting clients, you're already making sales, already creating content. You might have multiple offers you're selling. And the very first thing that I would do if I was working with you is I'll get you to do less to then achieve more. And that tends to be the way with 95% of people I work with, is they are always doing too much. They're selling too many offers. They're doing too many things in terms of trying to do outbound messaging, lots of lead magnets, lots of free masterclasses. They're doing promotions and discounts and all of these different things that actually don't move the needle forward that much in terms of their business. And so the first thing we're going to do is simplify. And the goal here is to get your workday, say from 8 hours a day, down to say 6 hours a day. Now, for some of you, those numbers might be very different. It might be from 12 hours down to 10, from 10 down to 4. It's going to vary massively because everyone here is doing a different thing right now with their business. But the key point is that we need to identify that for you specifically, what are the needle movers? And for the majority of people, the needle movers are going to be things such as posting content every day, making an offer every day. That doesn't mean you're selling, it just means you're offering people something to come into your world and essentially come into your ecosystem. It's chatting with leads every day, and it's serving your clients, right, and getting them results every day. And if you're doing those 4 things every day and you just prioritize your time there, that's going to get you much further ahead than trying to do all these different things at once. And so that's step number one, is to simplify and cut all the fat from your business. And it also means sacrificing offers that aren't selling. You might have made a new offer last month because you thought you needed to make one. You may have had an offer for the past few years. And I might say to you, sorry, it's got to go, right? And you need to be willing to actually cut away and to essentially burn down the current model you have to pursue a new one. For most people, you don't have to burn it down. but you have to burn down at least parts of it. Step number 2 is you're going to create what's called your identity blueprint. Now, the challenge today with the coaching space in every industry is that it's saturated, right? It's saturated. There are a lot of people doing the same things as you, offering the same things, offering the same offers, making the same promises, giving out the same value, even to the point where they might copy your content, copy everything you do word for word. These things happen, and what it means is that the space on Instagram in particular, the coaching space, is very noisy, right? It's very saturated. But saturation isn't about how many people are in a space or in a niche. It's all about positioning. And identity blueprint, when you get clear on that, that's how you position yourself against other people in your space. Now, the identity blueprint is really made up of 3 core components. You have your identity, you have your model, and you have your mechanisms. All of these things combined together forms your blueprint, your identity blueprint. Identity is all things about you. What's your story? What's your background? What's your why? What's your motivation? Why did you start this business? What's your transformation story? What are your failures? And all of those details. Why should people care about you as a person? That's the first step. Model is essentially the blueprint you follow to get results. That's essentially what I'm showing you now is my model. It's my blueprint to success. Mechanisms are then the individual methods, strategies, things that you actually teach and give people, tangibly, that get them from point A to point B. For example, identity blueprint is one of those things. And so you combine those 3 things together, you learn how to market that, to communicate that, and to blend that into your content and your offers. That's how you differentiate without having to over-deliver on value, without having to feel like you need to shout, without feeling like you're constantly competing against other people. That's how you build a kind of niche of one where you have no competition, right? And that someone who buys from someone else can also buy from you. And that's when you can unlock true scale in your business. Step number 3 is we're going to build out what I call your universal offer, but more importantly, your core universal offer. Again, everyone here, you do not need to have multiple offers to get to $1 million. Would it make it easier if you have multiple ways for people to pay you? Yes. It's not about whether the strategy is right or wrong. It's understanding when to do the strategy, because the right strategy at the wrong time becomes the wrong strategy. So, you have to just get clear on what's that one core program. What's that one core program that is your premium offer, whether that's a one-to-one or a group, those details don't matter right now. All that matters is you get clear on what's the core program, the one that you want to scale the most, put the most time into, and creates the biggest transformation for the clients you're helping. And when you get clear on that and you simplify your messaging, you refine everything to drive all the traffic towards that, and all of your funnels, your assets, and anything else you're doing, you direct all of that attention solely to this place. You'll get an increase in leads, increase in quality leads, but more importantly, increase in conversion. And that's how we start to scale and refine and build up to that next level in your business. And later on in these steps, we then introduce other levels and layers of the universal offer to account for people who can't afford the core program or who aren't ready for it or for whatever reason, right? We add that later on. Step number 4 is we are going to create your soul content. Now, one of the core problems with most people that I work with, and this will be a problem you probably have yourself, is it's not that your funnel, it's not that your strategy or the things you're doing are wrong, right? That's very rarely is that the case that what you're doing is 100% wrong. What tends to be the case is that you're doing the wrong strategy, but you're doing the right things, but you're attracting the wrong people in the first place. It's like trying to sell steak to a vegetarian. It's never going to work. It doesn't matter what the strategy is, what the promotion is, what a discount is, what the urgency or scarcity is you're trying to use. If you're trying to sell to the wrong people, none of this stuff matters. And so soul content, what's important there is that, number 1, we want to attract the right people. But number 2, it's what is the right person? How do we attract someone that actually aligns with us, our values, and how we do things? And the core difference here between how I do things to perhaps how others might do it is all about trying to create for the soul as opposed to trying to create for the brain. Now the key difference there is mostly in value and understanding what value is to someone. Now when you're creating for the brain, value tends to then be quite logical. It tends to be very much how to, right? So when you're creating educational content, here's how to grow on Instagram. Here's how to lose 10 pounds in 90 days. Here's how to do X, Y, and Z. The secret to this, the hack to that. That's all educational content, and it does serve a purpose in the overall strategy. However, it attracts freebie seekers, and freebie seekers are the ones who, they support you publicly. They leave nice comments. They say they love your content, but they never buy from you. And that's essentially what brain content, what value content does. It attracts a big audience, but it doesn't attract buyers. Soul content speaks to people's soul. It speaks to people's deeper motivations, their deeper feelings, their desires, their fears, their situations. We switch from problems to speaking about symptoms. There's a lot of changes we make there, but ultimately soul content, it's not about giving value in terms of a how-to. It's giving people value in a sense of changing their perspective, shifting a belief, helping them understand that what they're looking at right now and the way they think they have to solve a problem, or what they even think the problem is, actually is not the real problem, is actually not the best way to do it. And instead, this is the problem, and this is what we should be doing instead. It's about shifting, and that aha moment, that light bulb moment you can create with your content, which ultimately pushes someone to want to buy from you. Moving on to number 5. Now you're going to install the daily inbound engine, or at least some form of engine to generate daily inbound leads. A core issue with most people's businesses, coaching businesses, it's not that they don't necessarily get enough leads, it's that they don't get leads regularly enough, right? And then that seems like maybe they're one and the same thing, but they're not. Business here is all about momentum, it's all about flow, it's all about you being in a flow with making offers, creating content, having conversations, and having predictability around that. And if you're getting no leads for 2 weeks, and then suddenly you get some leads, and you stop getting leads, and so on and so forth, it's no longer about how many leads you get in total. What that then becomes is a battle of the mind, and how are you then going to react? What do you then start to change with your content, your approach, your sales, if you're not getting leads for 2 weeks, right? And so the daily inbound engine is all about how can we generate leads, inbound leads every single day who are asking to work with you. Now I need to make something very clear. What is a lead, right? Many people have different opinions on this. Now, I remember seeing people, and I still see it today, people talk about their ManyChat funnels, their lead magnet funnels, so on and so forth, and how they're amazing, right? And they are to some degree, but they say about how they get 20,000 leads, 20,000 people on an email list, 20,000 people raising their hands for this free thing that they have. My question then becomes, but how many actually buy something? And the reality is it's like 0.01%. I've done the maths on someone recently. That's not a funnel you want to build. That's not an engine or system you want to follow, because that's a system that relies solely on volume, and volume is not something that you can control. What you can control is efficiency. What you can control is the quality of the lead that reaches out to you. And the daily inbound engine is all about attracting the right leads in the first place. Now, soul content gets the right traffic to your page. The daily inbound engine is how do we turn that traffic into actual leads? A lead being someone who aligns with you, aligns with your values, your methods, your model, your way of thinking, your actual outlook on things and how you do things. But more importantly, they have intent. They want to solve a problem. They want to solve it soon. But again, more importantly, you're the person they want to work with. And you'll know this starts to work when you start to get messages from people who say, and again, I'll use examples that I get, and they say, hey, Harry, how can I work with you? Everything you say, I align with. Everything you say, I agree with. Everything you say, I want. That is the type of lead you want to attract. It's not a lead who says, can I have your free lead magnet? When's your next free workshop? That's not a lead, right? That's just someone looking for something for free, right? At least that's how I see it. And so building a business off of the right leads and having a daily inflow of those people, again, is how you're going to scale much quicker, but also with more ease, right? More flow, more enjoyment, more fun, more fulfillment in your business, and means that they come to you as opposed to you going to them. Imagine a business where your leads are chasing you as opposed to you chasing them. Imagine how much better your life would be, how much happier you might be as well, if that was your daily reality. So now we move on to number 6. Now, selling in the DMs, which is really what this system is all about. There is a challenge that poses. Now, when you're on a sales call, it's very easy to create urgency and scarcity, right? On that call, you can say, hey, look, on this call, if you move forward, we can do it for $1,000 less, right? And it works. It's a real easy strategy to use. On the call discount, fast action discount, whatever you want to call it. And that's how you can get people to take action, but more importantly, to make a decision now what they want to do. As soon as you're selling in the DMs, that urgency and scarcity becomes very difficult to recreate. And just saying the same thing as on a sales call doesn't cut it, because you're on a DM, you're not actually in front of someone. And so I use an open close enrollment period, which means that I open and close my program roughly every 4 weeks, sometimes it's more. And essentially what that does, it gives people a legit and a real reason why, if they want to work with me, they have to join now, or they risk having to wait at minimum 4 weeks to work with me again. Now, there is no guarantee that I also open up the following month, right? Because I open a business based on when I want to open it. I don't open it based on a set time period of this many days, this many. No, I open it based on my life, right? So I have a holiday coming up soon. I'm gonna not open my program, not take on any new clients during that period. And it might mean that the next enrollment is in 5 weeks or 6 weeks, as opposed to in 4 weeks, and vice versa. Now, what that does, creates urgency and scarcity, which fundamentally means you get the most important thing, a decision, right? What kills a business owner is not the no's, it's the maybes, and it's the ghosts. It's the ones that just don't reply and kind of get away from you. That's what kills a business or kills your mindset, is that situation. This prevents most of that. It's not going to prevent all of it, prevents most of it, but it also builds your pipeline for the future. When someone comes to you and they're not quite ready, it's very simple. It's like, great, well, do you want to do this? Yes, amazing. I'll put you on a wait list. And then eventually you have a wait list of people ready and waiting to work with you. And eventually what I'll be doing is moving to a system of 1 in, 1 out, right? So when I get to my target kind of total number of clients, it will then be you're on the wait list and you're next in line. If you're next in line, you can jump in. If not, you have to wait your turn. And again, this is a kind of a real way, not artificial, it's a real way to create urgency and scarcity, which gets a decision, gets people moving, and gets you more clients and more conversion when you're selling in the DMs. Number 7, refine your client experience. And this is something you're going to be doing all the time anyway. But again, if you want to scale and maintain, that's the key word here. If you want to maintain this type of level of your business, you have to have great client experience. Now, understand that client experience doesn't necessarily mean client results, right? Because results should be a standard. Getting results for someone should be essentially a bare minimum in your program. Now, you can never 100% guarantee that. I think everyone understands and agrees with that. But as a bare minimum, the people you're bringing into your program, you should be able to get them a level of results that they're satisfied with. That is bare minimum. However, results doesn't translate to experience, and results doesn't translate to keeping clients beyond their initial commitment with you. And that's a core, again, fundamental of you scaling to 1 million and being able to do it sustainably and do it without having to chase people all the time, is that the clients you get become clients you keep. Because a business, if you're getting clients and they leave you every 3 months, that's not a sustainable business. That's eventually going to be very difficult to maintain, very difficult to then scale as well. And it's going to really weigh down on you a lot. And I had this problem a couple of years back and I had to find a way to fix it. And so I use something called leverage design. It's essentially a way of designing your program and the experience aspect of it to encourage retention, to improve retention. And what it simply means is that I now have clients, take Roberta, for example. Roberta, if she's watching this video, she's now been working with me for 2 years, right? And so she started with me 2 years ago at 0. And she's now at a point where she's doing, virtually sales every single week, multiple sales every week. She's gone from sales calls to DM selling. She's still a part-time coach, right? She's a mum, she's an architect. She has a whole lot going on. But she's grown massively, but it's not because of the results that she stayed. It's because of the experience and how the program is designed and delivered, and you as a person, that's what keeps people staying for longer. Number 8 is to install impulse offers and chameleon offers. Now this comes back to the universal offer, right? Impulse and chameleon are essentially sub parts of the universal offer. What this essentially just means is how can we not now start selling multiple variations of the existing core offer. Now let's be very clear, this is not having new offers. You are not selling multiple different offers of a low ticket, a mid ticket, a high ticket, and so on. You know, that's an offer ladder. That's not what this is. This is simply taking your main core universal offer and being able to subdivide and section it up, take those sections and sell it as individual components. That is the core idea of having one offer that can be sold in many different ways. Now that's the kind of the basic explanation of it. It's not just doing that, but it's also understanding that your leads that you're attracting, most people treat every lead the same, right? Someone who reaches out to you, someone who sends you a message, who opts in for a freebie, they're all leads, right? And then you tend to treat them the exact same. You try and put them into the same funnel with the same offers, same process, la-da-da, and it doesn't work, right? Because you need to create an ecosystem that is flexible, right? And this is why I don't like the idea of a funnel, right? Because a traditional funnel is one-dimensional. It's people enter the funnel filters these people out along this one straight path, and you get some clients at the end of it. But what happens to all the other people, the people who don't buy, what happens? Well, they die, right? In the sense of leads. They die and are no longer leads. The reality is people don't buy that way. People don't buy one-dimensionally. Some may do, but not everyone does. So you have to accommodate for people who enter your ecosystem at different stages, right? You've probably heard a term of meeting people where they're at. That's essentially what that is, right? It's understanding that someone who opts in for a lead magnet, someone who pays for an impulse offer, someone who watches your VSL, someone who is a hot inbound lead, someone who has been on a sales call in the past few months but didn't convert, like all of these people are leads, but all of them can be offered something different based on their circumstances. And so now you go from having, you know, the kind of inflexibility, is that a word, of having one single offer to now having the complete flexibility of multiple offers that you can publicly sell, but privately being able to then divide them up even further to the point where you may have up to 20 different variations on how you can essentially promote and sell and package your offer to the different types of leads. That's about creating and conversion efficiency. So as opposed to, you know, solely relying on traffic and increasing that, that's how you increase efficiency. That's how you see some people with small audiences making tons of money because they have great efficiency of their conversion process. And that's all to do with the offer structure and knowing how to make different offers to different people at different stages and making it custom and personalized to that individual person. Might seem confusing on the surface, I'm not sure, but it's massively effective. Number 9, so final 2 points. I'll be very quick with these ones. Hiring. Now, can you get to 1 million without hiring anyone? Yes, of course you can. But if you want to be working, say, less than 4 hours a day, maybe 4 or 5 days a week, you're going to probably have to hire 1 or 2 people. Now, do you need to hire a full-time employee? No. I have 1 contractor at the moment. I say 1 plus half of 1 because one of them, Liam, is my content guy, right? So he essentially is the guy who takes my ideas, takes my scripts and just creates my content, schedules it, does all my captions and my stories and all of that stuff, right? He does more, but that's kind of the core of it. And that's kind of like a real important task that needs to be done. It needs to be done, but I don't need to do it, which is why I hire it out. Other things you then would look to automate. So if things need to be done, such as onboarding, stuff like that, payments, that can be automated. That doesn't have to be hired for, it can be automated. So obviously number 1, I've not got it here, but you'd automate most things. Number 2, you would simplify and cut fat, remove certain things. And number 3, you would then hire and get someone else to do it. And the second hire for me is my wife. but she doesn't really do that much, but she just handles kind of like client relations, any sort of admin type tasks, again, things that need to be done, but ultimately I don't need to be doing them, right? The business owner doesn't need to be doing them, but they still need to be done. So for you, it might be like a part-time VA, right, that you're hiring for on some kind of hourly rate. They're really the only 1 to 2 people you need. You might be thinking, but what about a DM setter? What about a sales closer? What about a client success coach and this and that and a video editor? And yeah, you could have them. That is one way to do it. But do you need to have them? No. Again, it always comes back to who are the people you're working with, how are you attracting them, how are you selling to them, what does that sales process look like? And if most of your clients are coming to you, if the people you're working with are soulmates and they are people who are self-led, self-motivated, they're able to go through lessons themselves and ask for help as and when they need it, but they don't pester you every day and send you paragraphs and 10-minute videos and whatever else. If you're attracting the right type of people, you don't need a client success coach. You don't need an appointment setter to be chasing people all the time. You don't need a sales closer to close people for you because your content's doing that already. So straight away, we've removed those 3 people, which actually for some of you, appointment setter is 7.5, maybe up to maximum 10% of your business income. A closer is 10% plus, right? That's 20% of your business and your income already saved just by learning how to restructure your marketing and the front end of your business to just attract the right people in the first place, right? You add on top of that other people. That's why some people it's what a lot of you may not understand or may not even know. There are people you see that are making millions, but they only keep thousands, right? And it's because they have massive team, very low profit margin, and actually not really enjoying their business at all. That's not what we're building here. Final point is, how do we add fuel to the fire? And that's going to be either ads or it's going to be organic kind of growth and virality to some degree. Now with ads, and just with this in general, I don't mean ads in respect of literal ads, right? When you go on Facebook or whatever and you see an ad and it's like, hey, come and buy my book or come and buy this thing. That's like a proper ad. You can see it's an ad. All I simply mean is putting money behind your content. Now, is there a strategy in terms of actually how to do that? Yeah, of course there is. Is there a mini funnel essentially off the back of that? Yes, of course there is. It fits within that entire ecosystem. But when I say ads, I just again want to be very clear. I don't mean your traditional, hey, this is an ad, come and buy from me type thing, right? With an entire sequence of retargeting ads, email campaigns, upsells and countdown timers, and you know the drill, right? You've been in those sort of funnels before. That's not what I mean when I'm saying ads, right? I simply just mean putting money behind what this system already is doing. You put money behind that to just drive more traffic into it. That's it, right? There is more to it, a little bit of course, but that's the fundamentals of it. So when you master the organic approach, can you get to 1 million organically? Of course you can, 100%. If you've got the audience and traffic already, yes, you can do that. But to make things easier, once you've mastered this and you're probably at 20, 30, 50,000 per month, that's when it makes sense. So the camera died, but pretty much what I was saying is 20, 50K per month, that's when you add ads and that's when you can start to scale and actually pick things up and go much faster with things. But that's it, guys. That kind of wraps up the end of this video. That is the 10 steps to build your $1 million creative cash flow. If you're interested in learning a bit more about how you can do that, I do have a video down below. Feel free to click on that, have a watch. That explains a lot more about me and kind of how I do things. But otherwise, appreciate your time watching the video. Keep an eye out. I upload videos just like this every week, give or take. Don't hold me to it, but it's roughly every week I upload these videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.